Well, a record 33 La Liga titles, a record 13 Champions League titles. Well, what more could I say about this team? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Dominic Rich. If you're new around here, consider hitting the subscribe button, especially if you love Champions League football. If you're interested in getting one of these cards in the back here, make sure to click the link in the description box down below. It's cardsplug.com/dominicrichfc. Use the code dominicrichfc to get 5% off your orders. As you can tell from the title, I'll be doing my 2019-20 UEFA Champions League predictions, but I decided to do them group by group. So in this video, I'll be talking about Group A. How I'm going to do this, I'm going to break every single team down, give you somewhat of a preview, and in the end, I'll let you know who I think is going to come first, second, third, and fourth. So in Group A, we have Club Brugge of Belgium. They were the Belgian champions last season, and they qualified by defeating LASK in the playoffs. And then we have Galatasaray of Turkey. They were last season's Super League champions. We also have PSG of France. They were last season's Ligue 1 champs. Of course they were. And last but not least in the group, Real Madrid of Spain. They placed third in last season's La Liga. So let's start with Club Brugge. They're managed by the 45-year-old former Club Brugge and Belgian midfielder Philippe Clement. He has been around Club Brugge for quite some time, once being their caretaker and their assistant manager. He won the Belgian league last season with Genk and took over as the manager of Club Brugge at the beginning of the season. When it comes to their Champions League highlights, the 15-time Belgian champions remains the only Belgian team that has ever taken part in a Champions League final. They did so in 1978 when they lost to Liverpool at Wembley 1-0. Club Brugge has, however, failed to get out their group in the Champions League era and has been in the competition 3 out of the last 4 seasons. They have forced themselves to 2 rounds of qualifying to make it through this season's group stage, and they definitely have the look of a well-oiled unit. Key players for Club Brugge includes the Belgian midfielder Hans Vanaken, currently the heart and soul of this team, alongside the Dutchman Ruud Vormer. There's also the Senegalese winger Crepin Diatta and the Croatian centre-back Matej Mitrovic. Key transfers for Club Brugge includes replacing the outgoing manager Ivan Leko with Philippe Clement. The Belgian international goalkeeper Simon Mignolet was brought from Liverpool, and Bayer Diagne was brought over on loan from Galatasaray. He scored 30 goals and picked up 3 assists in last season's Turkish Super League. He was the league's top scorer, so I don't really understand why Galatasaray let him go. Maybe he's not getting along with the current manager over there. And I'm not 100% sure if he is allowed to play against his parent team. They also have the South African forward Percy Tau on loan from Brighton. He was very instrumental in helping South Africa defeat Egypt at the recently completed African Cup of Nations. David Okereke, a striker brought from Spezia in Serie B. He already has 4 goals and 1 assist in 5 appearances this season. And despite him not scoring during the Champions League qualifying rounds, the 22-year-old Nigerian is definitely showing potential. Their defense have been bolstered by the signing of Ede Balanta from Basel, along with a few other decent players. Club Brugge spent a total of 29 million during the summer transfer window, which is showing some intent. But will these players adequately replace the players that they sold? Wesley to Aston Villa for 25 million euros. Onward Danjuma to Brighton for 18 million euros. Marvelous Nakamba to Aston Villa. Stefano Denswell to Bologna, along with Sofian Amrabat and Carlo Letizia out on loan. Club Brugge made a total of 62 million euros, and they did some very good business during the summer transfer window, and they also have the look of a very ambitious team. So now let's move on to Galatasaray, who is currently managed by the 65-year-old former Galatasaray and Turkish international Fatih Terim. Fatih Terim had 3 stints as the manager of the Turkish international team, with the last ending in 2017 after a horrible time during World Cup qualifiers. Also in 2017, he did return to his beloved Galatasaray for his 4th stint as manager. His managerial honors includes 8 Turkish Super League titles and a Europa League title in 2000. This man has a lot of experience and he knows how to win, and Galatasaray will surely need that. So let's talk about Galatasaray's Champions League highlights. Galatasaray is the most successful Turkish club with 22 league titles. Their biggest achievement in European football came in the 99-2000 season when they defeated Arsenal 4-1 on penalties during the Europa Europa League final. They also went on to defeat Real Madrid in the UEFA Super Cup that followed. Galatasaray has made a few quarterfinal runs in the old European Cup era. Their best ever run in the Champions League era came in the 2000-2001 season when they made it to the quarterfinals and lost to Real Madrid. Touché, right? They also made another quarterfinal run in the 2012-13 season, but once again lost to Real Madrid. These two teams can definitely settle their differences this season in the group phase. I'm looking forward for that. In the last edition of the Champions League, Galatasaray placed third in the group and was relegated to the Europa League. But the fact that the final will be hosted in Istanbul, this team will be inspired to go all the way. So good luck, Galatasaray. Key players for Galatasaray includes Fernando Muslera. The 33-year-old Uruguayan mainstay has been at the club for 9 seasons. He also has 112 caps for his country, and his experience will be crucial if Galatasaray is to make a deep run in the tournament. Then there's Sofian Feghouli. He is currently fresh off of an African Cup of Nations win, so he will be pumped. There's also Turkish veteran Selçuk İnan in the midfield. Their fullbacks Yuto Nagatomo and Mariano, and at the midfielder Yunus Belanda. Galatasaray did quite a bit of business during the summer transfer window, and their key transfers are as follows. The young Turkish right winger Emre Mor on loan from Celta Vigo. He has seemingly regressed after picking up a nasty injury. Radamel Falcao, the 33-year-old striker, free from Monaco. That's a big signing, and his experience and know-how will be crucial for Galatasaray in the group phase. The left winger and Dutchman Ryan Babel. He seems like a player transformed, and he will be very, very important for Galatasaray this season. They have acquired quite a few key players on loan. Jean-Michel Seri from Fulham, Mario Lemina from Southampton, Steven Nzonzi from Roma, and they have roped in the Congo DR international defender Christian Luyendama from Standard Liège. Galatasaray only spent 9 million euros, but the fact that they got some good players on free and on loans, they did some really good business during the transfer window. The players that left the club include Fernando to Sevilla for 4.5 million euros, Mbaye Diagne on loan to Club Brugge, and I don't really understand this move, but we'll see how it works out. Konstantinos Mitroglou went to PSV on loan, and last season's top scorer in the league for Galatasaray, Henry Onyekuru, went back to his parent club and probably went somewhere else to play his football. So they should have tried to work out a deal for him, but maybe he was too expensive. But all in all, I think Galatasaray looks a stronger unit than they were last season. So now let's talk about PSG. The French champions are currently managed by the 46-year-old former Mainz and Dortmund manager Thomas Tuchel. In his last 168 games in charge of both PSG and Dortmund, the German has only lost 26 matches. And during that time, he had a plus 100 goal difference at both clubs. So this just gives you perspective on the manager's attacking style of play. Tuchel's managerial honors includes a German Cup win with Dortmund and a League and 2 Super Cup wins with PSG. Is Thomas Tuchel the right man to lead PSG to Champions League glory? Well, only time will tell. So let's talk a bit about PSG's Champions League highlights. They have won 6 out of the last 7 League On titles, and still they can't win the Champions League. PSG's best ever Champions League performance came in the 1994-95 season when they made it to the semi-finals. And even now, with their newfound wealth and their superstar players, they have failed to make it past the quarterfinals. In the last 3 editions of the Champions League, PSG made round of 16 exits, which is quite a letdown for a club of their stature. And last season was the pick of the bunch, going out to a very, very lackluster Manchester United. Can Neymar, Cavani, Mbappe and company finally break PSG's Champions League jinx? Well, we shall see. We shall see. Let's just say that. Key players for PSG includes, where do I start? Because there's a lot of very, very good players on this PSG team. But let's start with the Brazilian duo at the back, Marquinhos and Thiago Silva. In the attack, there's also the front trio of Neymar Jr., Edinson Cavani and Kylian Mbappe. And I think it's very, very important that Neymar stayed at PSG, because if he left, their chances would have gone very, very, very thin. There's also Marco Verratti and Angel Di Maria, and not to forget the very, very important role that Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting has been playing especially when Cavani and company are injured. Key transfers for PSG this season includes, well, PSG did spend a lot of money once again. They brought in the Inter Milan outcast Mauro Icardi on loan, and he has proven himself to be a very deadly striker. It's going to be interesting to see how he integrates in this PSG team. But one thing I want Mauro Icardi to do is to try to quell his ego in order to succeed at PSG. In the midfield, where they definitely needed some help, they brought in Ander Herrera from Manchester United on a free. And that was actually great business. I like that move. I think Ander Herrera was one of the best players at Man United, and they will definitely regret letting him go. They also brought in midfielders Pablo Sarabia from Sevilla and Idrissa Gana Gueye from Everton. For defensive reinforcements, they brought in Abdou Diallo from Borussia Dortmund, who is a very highly rated player. And in the goalkeeping positions, PSG did somewhat of a reshuffle. They let go Kevin Trapp, they sent Areola to Real Madrid, and they let go Gigi Buffon. In exchange, they brought in Keylor Navas from Real Madrid and Sergio Rico from Sevilla. And I think those were some good moves because Keylor Navas knows how to win the Champions League, and he will definitely want to keep a clean sheet against the team he won multiple Champions League with, Real Madrid. As for Sergio Rico, it seems like he is currently on tour from Sevilla because he recently went to the relegated Fulham and now to PSG. Where next, Sergio Rico? Where next? PSG spent a total of 100 million euros. That's a lot of money, but last time they did spend a little bit more on Neymar. 222 million. Still didn't win the Champions League. As for outgoing players, they did let go Giovanni Lo Celso to Real Betis, who was over there on loan. Then he went on loan to Spurs. Moussa Diaby, the 19-year-old winger, to Bayer Leverkusen for 19 million euros. Christopher Nkunku to RB Leipzig. Hesse went back out on loan, and Dani Alves, Kevin Trapp, Adrien Rabiot, and Gigi Buffon all left the club, while Alphonse Areola went to Real Madrid on loan. PSG made a total of 103 million euros. That gives them a plus 3 million in the bank. Pretty good business. So now let's move on to Real Madrid, the team that won the Champions League 3 times in a row, 4 times in 5 seasons. Man, it's one amazing team, but they're currently going through a rebuild. As for Real Madrid, they're currently managed by the 47-year-old Bordeaux, Real Madrid, and Juventus midfielder Zinedine Zidane. He is a World Cup winner, 2-time finalist, and the man is just a legend. You're talking about the king of headbutts here, Zinedine Zidane. His only managerial post has been with Real Madrid. First with the second team, then the first stint where he won 3 Champions League in a row, then he left and came back for blood. Nothing else. In his first stint as Real Madrid manager, he won the league once, the Super Cup once, the Club World Cup twice, the UEFA Super Cup twice, and of course the unprecedented 3 Champions League in a row. And as I said earlier, Zizou is back for blood. He is out for blood, and his appetite is ravenous. So let's now talk about Real Madrid's Champions League highlights. Well, a record 33 La Liga titles, a record 13 Champions League titles. Well, what more could I say about this team? They are easily the competition's most decorated club. After winning it for 4 of the last 5 editions, Real Madrid were knocked out in the round of 16 last season by a very spirited young Ajax team. But King Zizou has returned, and he will try to fix what Lopetegui and Solari obviously broke. And of course, fix the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo, if that's even fixable. As for key players in the Real Madrid squad, well, we have to start with their captain and their talismanic defender Sergio Ramos. We all know what he's capable of doing. We all know what he brings to the table, so I don't need to further elaborate. There's the Brazilian Casemiro pivoting in the number 6 position, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric in the engine room, Karim Benzema, who has been very consistent for Real Madrid, and Gareth Bale, who is out to prove himself to Zinedine Zidane. He definitely wants to stay at Real Madrid, right? There's also Rafael Varane at the back, and of course, guys, Thibaut Courtois, who I think is yet to prove his worth at Real Madrid. Key transfers for Real Madrid includes, well, let me just say that Real Madrid did splash the cash last summer. I think they probably spent the most money. They brought in left winger and talisman world-class forward Eden Hazard from Chelsea for 100 million euros. That's a lot of money. They're trying to replace Cristiano Ronaldo still. And as I said earlier, the man is irreplaceable. It will take a mean feat for Eden Hazard to replace Cristiano Ronaldo and what he brought to the table for Real Madrid. Luka Jovic, the young striker from Eintracht Frankfurt for 60 million euros, and the Brazilian teenage sensation Rodrigo from Santos. They paid 45 million euros for that player. They also brought in the Brazilian centre-back Eder Militao from Porto for 50 million euros. Ferland Mendy, the young French left-back from Lyon, also for 48 million euros to give Marcelo some well-needed competition. Well, not like he didn't have the competition last season with Reguilon, right? And they also brought in Alphonse Areola from PSG on loan to give Courtois some well-needed backup. Real Madrid spent a total of 307 million euros, so that's intent. They want that Champions League trophy again. They want that league trophy. They want that league title. So Real Madrid is showing intent. It's kind of embarrassing when you come in third in La Liga, right? Behind Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. So look out for Real Madrid this season, guys. Outgoing players for Real Madrid includes Mateo Kovacic to Chelsea, Marcos Llorente to Atletico Madrid, Raúl de Tomas to Benfica, Theo Hernandez to Real Sociedad, Keylor Navas to PSG, Dani Ceballos, Takefusa Kobo, and Boya Mayoral amongst the players out on loan. Real Madrid did recoup a total of 130 million euros from those sales, so they are minus 177 in arrears. But they don't care. They don't care. They want results and they spent the money. So guys, now that I have given you a very detailed preview, it's now time to let you guys know my prediction. And I know some people may comment and say, why you did all that just to come and give your predictions? Well, I didn't want to just make the video and let you know who I think is going to come first, second, and third. I want to offer value here, okay? Note that. I want to offer value. So what's my prediction for Group A? Let's start with the team coming in fourth. Well, it's very hard. It's very hard. But guys, let's be honest here. Let's separate the four teams in two groups. Let's put them in groups where the teams that are definitely most likely to come through the group and the teams that are most likely not to. Well, the teams that are most likely not to, I'm going to start with Club Brugge in fourth position. I think they did some good business during the summer transfer window, but the fact that they let go some of their best players during the summer, I don't, it's business, but still, man, it's gonna take some playing to get past a team like Real Madrid and PSG in this group. And I don't think the players they have in their squad could do it. Well, they just have to prove me wrong, but I'm going to go for Club Brugge to come in fourth. The fact that they have a new manager and all, a few players still trying to integrate, Club Brugge, I think you're doomed to come in fourth in this group. So just prove me wrong. Prove me wrong here. In third position, this team will go into the Europa League when the group stage is over. And I'm going to go for Fatih Terim's Galatasaray. I think they made some good signings, but it's some confusing ones as well. Like, why did they let go Mbaye Diagne, not signing Henry Onyekaru on a permanent deal and all? I don't totally agree with those, but I think the Turkish champions will come in third and they will not make it to the finals that will be played in Istanbul. They would want to do it, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's too hard. This group is very, very difficult for Club Brugge and Galatasaray. And with Falcao up top, he's not as fast as he used to be. He's still wildy and all, but, I don't know about Galatasaray, so I'm going to go for Galatasaray to come in third. So now for the teams who definitely should make it to the round of 16. And note I said, they should make it, but it doesn't mean that they would make it. This is just what I think. Coming in second, I'm going to go for PSG, guys. Neymar is banned for some of the early games in the group stage. Cavani suffering an injury. Icardi has to integrate himself. Mbappe suffering from an injury as well, so he won't be 100% fit. So I think PSG will struggle in the early parts of the group phase. They may do well still, you know what I'm saying? You never know. Players stepping up might come in and do very, very well. And they could go on to come in first. But I'm just going to go for them to come in second. And that won't be too good for PSG because they would play one of the winners of the other groups. So they could be out in the round of 16 once again. But I think this year, Is it now or never? It's now or never for Thomas Tuchel. Like, he has to do something. He has to make a deeper run in the Champions League, or I think he's going to face the axe. Coming in first in this group, I'm going to go for Zinedine Zidane and Real Madrid. I think they made some really good summer signings. They have a lot of exciting players. There's competition for places in the squad which will make the players perform even better. You're talking about Vinicius Jr. on the left wing, Rodrigo, Eden Hazard up top, Karim Benzema. You have Luka Jovic, Gareth Bale, Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, Sergio Ramos. Yo, this team is totally stacked up. The likes of Dani Carvajal still in the team. This team is a very good team, and I think they could go on to win the Champions League this season. They're one of the favorites, especially with the know-how of Zinedine Zidane. And with Hazard, a world-class player, added to their team, I'm going for Real Madrid to top this group, and I'm final on that. So I'm going for Real Madrid, PSG second, third Galatasaray, and fourth to be knocked out of all European competitions, Club Brugge. So guys, what's your prediction for Group A? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to visit cardsplug.com if you want to pick up your very own FIFA Ultimate Team card. And if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. Guys, smash the thumbs up button. And until next time, from your boy Dominic Rich, peace out. Rich Squad!